If Tottenham Hotspur actually get relegated this season, would they be the biggest club in football history to get relegated? Just so you understand how big of a shock it would be if Tottenham go ahead and actually send themselves down to the Championship, let's go through some statistics for you. Statistics, crazy. Stats for you, just so you understand how crazy this is. They have the second most expensive season tickets in the Premier League. Holders Liverpool currently aren't even in the top 10 season ticket prices. They have the sixth highest wage bills in the Premier League and have the fourth highest net spend in the last 5 seasons in the Premier League. That's just some of the facts. Also, taking into account the team are currently European champions after beating Manchester United in the Europa League final 1-0, where many, including myself, thought it would be the turning point for the club in the league, and that finishing 17th, only one spot above the relegation zone, was a one off season. And I thought we'd see them near the top of the table again in the following season, where I'm used to seeing Tottenham push for Champions League, if not Champions League, minimum top 8. However, with only 10 games to go, they sit in 16th place with only 4 more points than West Ham, who currently sit 18th. And looking at both teams' forms, it's looking worrying for Tottenham, who currently still don't have a win in 2026 and are on an 11-game winless streak in the Premier League. Please remember, it's March. Tottenham are still without a win in 2026. So where's it all gone wrong for the club? And would they be the biggest club to get relegated? Let's dive into it. Before the 2025-26 season, Daniel Levy had a big decision to make. Does he keep Ange Postecoglou after winning the Europa League and ending the club's long trophy drought, or does he sack him and get a new manager? And that's the decision he went with. I was quite shocked that Ange Postecoglou had gotten sacked. I understand that the fan base was split on the decision at the time of keeping him or not. Half wanted him gone, half wanted him to stay. But me, as a non-Tottenham fan, thought it'd be best for the club to keep him. 2 seasons at the club, both were somewhat successful. In his first season, he guided Tottenham to a fifth place finish, an improvement from the season before by 3 spots, and had them in a title race for half of the season. In the second season, yes, he may have finished 17th, but Tottenham were never actually in a relegation battle, unlike this season. So they did rotate a lot in the league to stay fresh for the Europa League because they knew they had nothing to play for in the Prem, which ended up paying off as they were victorious in the final, winning 1-0 via a Brennan Johnson finish. Ange had finally broken Tottenham's trophy drought, the one thing that seemed hardest to do with Tottenham. They had much better sides in the past than this Ange Postecoglou side, and on paper, much more experienced and better managers, such as Mourinho, Pochettino, and Conte. Yet he managed to deliver, what the club had been desperate for a very long time and they couldn't do. Yet they go ahead and sacked him. For me, this wasn't the right decision, but at the same time, I could kind of understand why the club chose to do this. But the appointment for me was never the right one, and I was proven correct. As Thomas Frank, who was the appointment, has already been sacked by the club after only 8 months in charge. A good manager at Brentford, but I could see signs early on that this was not going to work out. Frank's style of play was not suited to what the club wanted, and the players weren't suited for it either. However, they did start strong, and they did look like they were going to prove me wrong, with a strong start against Burnley winning 3-0 and a huge win at the time against Manchester City at the Etihad 2-0. It could just be that they're City's bogey team, but at the time I thought Frank might be okay after all, but wrong. It all went downhill after that. They looked flat every single time I watched them play. No attacking rhythm, no style of play. It all just looked so confusing. The players didn't look like they knew what they were doing, and it was also boring to watch. That doesn't help, considering you're not even getting results and the style of football is boring. So the fans did turn on him quickly. Whenever I watched Tottenham, I was unsure where they'd even get a goal from. It looked like the only way they'd get a goal was to give it to Mohamed Kudus and pray for him to do something, or Van de Ven goes on a solo run. Kudus gets injured, and the goals dried up even more. The biggest issue for Tottenham, however, wasn't even the manager or the players at the club. It's actually the recruitment they had in the January transfer window and the summer transfer window. They desperately needed a midfielder who is physical and progressive with the ball, isn't afraid to make line breaking passes and take a risk. But he got a decent player, don't get me wrong, instead. And Tottenham already have similar profiles at the club. Conor Gallagher. For me, a player that would have suited them much better than Gallagher as of right now is Carlos Baleba. I'm not saying you should have gone ahead and got Carlos Baleba exactly, because I don't know if he would have wanted to join Tottenham considering the circumstances they're in and potential options he may have in the summer, and his form isn't the best. But a similar profile to that. A number six, sick is crazy. A number six who likes to get involved in the game, makes line breaking passes, and is a ball winner at the same time. A left winger was also a position I feel like they could have done with. They should have got Lookman. He was available in the summer transfer window and the January transfer window before Atletico Madrid picked him up late in the window. That left wing spot is an issue. It's a shame because Matthias Tell and Odegaard are exciting young players, but both had their confidence knocked in away. Especially Tell, who for me, he did not have the backing of Frank and clearly wasn't preferred out wide, even if the injuries were, even if they had injuries in that position, sorry. Frank would have rather put a striker there, whether that was Colomani or Richarlison, and Toll for me wasn't even playing bad. He was playing good. The players look out of it. They don't seem like they're willing to accept they're in a relegation battle, as they may feel they're too good to be in the situation, which I fully understand. Tottenham should be nowhere near this situation, considering the players they've got, but they've got to accept it. And the funny thing is, they somehow finished in the top 8 of the Champions League, and it would not surprise me if they somehow went through and beat Atletico Madrid, going to the quarterfinals. They're such a strange club. The main point of this video now: will Tottenham be the biggest club to get relegated? In the Premier League, 100%. In the history of the Premier League, I can't think of a bigger club than Tottenham to get relegated, considering the players they've got. You could say Leicester, but their team was 50-50. It had either really good players or really bad players. Tottenham have Van der Ven, Romero. They're your two main centre back options. And your backup options in centre back are not too bad options either. Danso and Dragusin. I know Dragusin's not been in good form, but they're decent centre backs. Simmons and Kudus as potential wide options or cam options. A £70 million striker in Solanke. Pedro Porro and Udogie as fullback options, which, yes, they may not have been the best of forms in recent months, but they can play football. And we've seen it in the past. I understand they have a lot of injury issues, but they strengthened in the summer. Kolo Muani has just not got going yet. We saw at Juventus and for the France national team, he is a good player, but Tottenham just have not been able to get anything out of him apart from a North London derby goal in the Premier League. However, in football history, they wouldn't be the biggest side to get relegated. The Juventus side in 2006 that got relegated had a Ballon d'Or winner in there, World Cup winners, but that was due to corruption and ref scandals. So Tottenham would technically be the biggest club in football history to get relegated. And I'm honestly going to say it now: Tottenham will get relegated, in my opinion. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you for watching.